I supported my wife through cancer treatment, and she ruined my life. Most people wouldn't regret supporting their significant other through cancer treatment, but now I just wish I just let that witch die. Sitting in the doctor's office next to my loving wife of 20 years and getting the worst news of my life is nothing compared to the pain that I feel now. My wife was diagnosed that day with bone cancer. It was one of the most severe types, and we had caught it late. I was sure that I would lose her, and I could not imagine my life without her. Watching her go through treatment was soul-crushing, but I did everything I could to support her and push away my own hurt. I treasured every single day I had with her and stayed up late with her every night when she was throwing up from chemo. It never felt like a second thought to me. I mean, she's my wife. Isn't that what anyone would do? I used to think it was the most heart-wrenching experience I had ever gone through, but that's all changed now. Although we had caught it late and she had been suffering through chemo, it turned out to be working. Gradually, her cancer started receding, and after about a year of chemo, she was finally cancer-free. When we got the news, I remember crying happy tears for the first time since our wedding. I had literally watched her almost die, almost crumble away into absolutely nothing, and leave me all alone. I remember watching her ring the bell in the cancer ward and just thinking about all the ways that I was going to make the rest of her life absolutely remarkable. When you love someone like that, you feel it in every vein in your body. All I wanted to do was make her happy. So a few months after her cancer went into remission, I surprised her with a ticket to Europe. For as long as I've known my wife, she has wanted to visit Italy, and after everything she had been through, all I wanted to do was make her dreams come true. I'll never forget the look on her face when I surprised her with the tickets over dinner. On the plane ride there, she was so excited she could barely sit still. I had never seen her so full of life, and it was everything I wanted for her. She looked so happy, and I would have never expected the trip to turn sour on the very first day. I had made dinner reservations at a fancy restaurant near our hotel, and I noticed that the waiter was flirting with her. My wife is beautiful, and you would have never known that she had just survived a life-threatening illness. But this particular interaction was strange since it seemed like my wife was flirting back. She had never done this before in our marriage, so it was weird seeing her touch the arm of this waiter and laugh at his jokes right in front of me. I decided to brush it off because I wanted her to have a good vacation. It wasn't until the next day when she did the same thing with our scuba diving instructor. I'm not an insecure guy. I'm 6'3" and I've been working out since high school. But watching your wife touch another guy's abs and giggle right in front of you will piss you off no matter how secure you are. After both incidents, I had basically stopped having fun since I felt like I had to keep an eye on my wife the entire time. Something was so off about her. I had never seen her acting so much like a little girl. Maybe a month after we got back from Italy, I noticed more changes in my wife's behavior. She was still healthy physically, but she wasn't being the attentive partner she usually was. The woman I married would text me random paragraphs throughout the week about how much she loves me. She would surprise me with silly little gifts and hot meals of my favorite foods. But once we got home from Italy, all that was gone. I tried so hard to convince myself that everything was okay, but she was changing right in front of me. She was becoming more distant and more attached to her phone. I had never seen her text so often, and one day I couldn't hold it in anymore and I confronted her. At first she tried to play dumb, but I told her that I felt distance between us, and I wanted to know who she was texting all the time. After 20 years of marriage, we've had plenty of uncomfortable conversations, but there was nothing healthy about that one. When I asked who she was texting, my wife said it was her coworker. I asked more questions, and she ended up admitting that they had been getting close at work, and she wanted a hall pass to sleep with him while still remaining married to me. It was like a horror movie. My brain kept saying it couldn't be real. The conversation went on until almost 4 a.m., full of tears and bargaining. I was totally against this. She was the love of my life. I never wanted to see her with another man, but my wife was set on it, and she kept trying to convince me. I only ended up agreeing when she brought up that he was leaving her company, and that she needed to live her life now since she had almost lost it. What could I say to that? The woman survived cancer, and now I was going to try to tell her how to live her life. The next morning at work, my best friend noticed how exhausted I looked and asked what was wrong. I ended up telling him everything, from the cancer, to Italy, to the hall pass. As soon as I mentioned the hall pass, his eyes got wide. He reminded me that she is still my wife, and her happiness didn't have to come at the cost of my own. Literally, he had that exact body shape. He was half a foot shorter than her, balding, and his hands were covered in liver spots. But there he was, holding my drop-dead gorgeous wife by the waist, and they were kissing every couple of minutes. I don't know how long I stayed in the corner of that bar, frozen, astonished at what I was seeing. He was the ugliest son of a bitch I had ever always laid eyes on, yet he had the woman I had loved my entire life wrapped around his pudgy little finger.